Call the meeting to order. The public portion of the meeting begins. The New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interests is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Business Administrator Board Secretary has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building, communicated to the Hawthorne Press, the record, and filed with the clerk of the Borough of Hawthorne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Clavijo?
Here.
Ms. Goff?
Here.
Mr. Palouse?
Here.
Mr. Reicher?
Here.
Ms. Sanford? Mr. Sciarra?
Here.
Mr. Para?
Here.
Mr. Turco?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here. Would everyone please join me for a flag salute? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting regulations. During each regular meeting, 2 opportunities are provided for citizens to ask questions and to make comments. During the first opportunity, early on the agenda, the meeting is open to the public for the purpose of addressing items listed for approval on this agenda only. The second opportunity occurs just prior to adjournment, when citizens may address any subject matter that is pertinent to and/or directly related to the operation of the school district. Persons wishing to speak must, upon being recognized, rise, sign in, state their name, address, and subject matter. Comments and questions shall be addressed to the board president or the presiding officer and shall be limited to 5 minutes per person. The board may or may not respond to issues raised by members of the public at the time they are raised, but will provide a response if and when appropriate. The board asks that members of the public be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Please note that the board will not respond to comments regarding students or board employees in light of the privacy rights held by those individuals. Moreover, the board discourages comments about such individuals and will not be responsible for such comments. Members of the public who choose to speak during this public session should carefully consider their comments, since they could be held personally liable for any statements they make. Finally, please note that in accordance with district policy, the board will not officially comment or respond to any matter mentioned unless it can confirm that the matter has first been brought to the attention of the appropriate school personnel in an attempt to resolve the issue. Public be heard, agenda items only. All right, seeing no one, I'm going to move right along. Mr. Clavijo, Finance Administration, please.
Pursuant to the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Committee on Finance Administration recommends the following resolutions. F1 on page 3, approval of the budget for the 2019-2020 school year. The Board of Education of Hawthorne hereby adopts the following budget for 2019-2020 school year. The budget includes sufficient funds to provide curriculum and instruction which will enable all students to achieve the core curriculum content standards. It is in compliance with NJSA 18A, NJAC Title 6 and 6A. Total expenditures $44,686,431 and total revenue $44,686,431. Be further resolved that the District General Tax Department to support the 2019-2020 budget as stipulated by the Hawthorne Board of Education Finance Committee in Hawthorne. Borough municipal official as follows. Total amount $39,225,311. Also on page 3, F2, whereas the Hawthorne Board of Education policy number 6471 and NJAC 6A:23B-1.2b provides that the Board of Education shall establish in the annual school budget a maximum expenditure amount may be allotted for such travel and expense reimbursements for the 2018-2019 school year. Whereas the Hawthorne Board of Education appropriated $6,000 for travel during the 2018-2019 school year and has spent $13,783.39. Now, therefore, be resolved that the Hawthorne Board of Education hereby establishes the school district travel maximum for the 2019-2020 school year at the sum of $60,000, and be resolved that the school business administrator shall track and record these costs to ensure that the maximum amount is not exceeded.
Mr. Superintendent, you want the presentation first before we vote?
We have to do second, someone has to second this?
So on behalf of the committee, is so moved.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Pavijo?
Yes.
Ms. Goff?
Yes.
Mr. Palooz?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford? Mr. Scarra?
Yes.
Mr. Tara?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. All right, Mr. Spirito, we're going to turn it over to you for the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to the 2019-20 Hawthorne Public Schools Annual Budget Presentation. I want to welcome everyone who's watching on Files Channel 28, Optimum Channel 77. Also let the community know that a hard copy of this presentation will be available on our website first thing tomorrow morning. We are also recording the presentation, and it will be available with our other board minutes and agendas on our website. So, in regards to tonight, our goal this evening is to provide our parents and community members with an overview of the 1920 budget for the Hawthorne Public Schools. And as always, the board and administration remain cognizant of our fiscal responsibility to our taxpayers of this community. However, we also understand and appreciate the commitment we have to the students in the Hawthorne Public Schools and the importance of good schools for everyone in Hawthorne. So I'd like to take a moment to thank the board and Mrs. Engel for working hard to put this budget together. I'd also like to thank our PTOs, our Education Foundation, our Special Education Parent Advisory Group, CPAC, and the numerous other community donors for their continued support over the past year. We look forward to our continued partnership moving forward. Once again, this support is appreciated and extremely beneficial to all of our students in all of our schools. So, with that said, our goal tonight again is to begin by providing a brief overview of our recently completed strategic plan and our district goals that we've created as part of that strategic planning process, and to highlight some of our accomplishments over the past year. We'll continue with information about our school district, followed by a discussion of the general tax levy, revenues and appropriations, and our fiscal efficiencies. The second half of the presentation will include an overview of our 2019-2020 budget, as well as specific budgeted items in the areas of staffing, buildings and grounds, technology, security, and curriculum and instruction. So please allow me to begin by sharing that during the 2017-18 school year, the board, administration, faculty, and members of our community worked together to develop a strategic plan which includes our district goals for the next 3 years. These goals and the associated action plans that go along with these goals are currently available on our website for anyone who'd like to view them. And I share these goals tonight because these goals will help drive our planning and our budget development process over the next 3 years. So I think it's important to share what those goals are. And as you can see, there are 3 main focus areas: 21st century life skills, teaching and learning, and student health and wellness. And as we make our way through the presentation tonight, you will see examples of these areas addressed throughout this budget presentation. So let's begin by taking a look back at just some of our many accomplishments that we've achieved over the past year. And although this isn't a complete list, we are proud to share some of the important highlights in the areas of curriculum instruction, buildings and grounds, security, and technology. So we'll start with curriculum and instruction. Just quickly go through some of our highlights here. This past year we hosted our second annual Treps Marketplace for our 5th graders in all of our elementary schools. Another successful event at Roosevelt School. Students do a fantastic job, and I have to thank our 2 research and exploration teachers as well. This year we've expanded our STEM course at Lincoln Middle School to provide some additional activities, as well as to extend the amount of time that students are in that program. It's now extended to a marking period for our students at Lincoln Middle School. We continue to support our students and staff at the Bear Cave, our 18 to 21-year-old transition program, and we're proud of how far that program has come and looking forward to the future of that program. We've improved our 21st century makerspace at Hawthorne High School and created a new makerspace at Lincoln Middle School in the Media Center at Lincoln Middle School this year. We've continued to support our partnership with Care Plus to provide mental health services for students at the high school and Lincoln Middle School. Thanks to Ms. Dever and Mr. Berlini, we've established a school-wide character education program at Lincoln Middle School, the Team Ticket program, and as the board is aware, they presented to us last month. It's a wonderful program and been very well received. We've continued our mindfulness programs at all levels and even provided 3 evening presentations for parents at the elementary, middle school, and high school level this past year. And of course, provided our ongoing professional development for all of our staff at every level. In the area of buildings and grounds, we renovated our STEM lab at Lincoln Middle School this year, a wonderful addition to the program at Lincoln Middle School, and I know, again, the students are really enjoying that new space. We've installed new boilers at Washington School. We've replaced our track at Hawthorne High School this past year. We've updated boys and girls locker rooms and 2 bathrooms at the high school, and we've installed some additional exterior LED lighting at all of our schools. We've continued with our painting projects of our hallways and stairwells throughout the district, and we've completed our installation of whiteboards and Epson interactive projectors in all of our classrooms district-wide. And finally, we've worked hard to upgrade some of our security measures, and this is really, it's under buildings and grounds, but I think it also applies to security because we replaced our interior gym doors throughout the district to ensure that we can lock those doors in an emergency. Jumping into security, just recently, as a matter of fact, over this most recent April recess, we've installed emergency strobe lights at specific locations at each of our schools. And I have to thank Atlantic Stewardship Bank for their very generous $12,000 donation this year, which allowed us to complete that project. We've been very fortunate to have some significant donations, and Atlantic Stewardship was one of them, and we appreciate their support. We've installed some additional security cameras throughout the district, and that is an ongoing goal of ours to continue to do that in all of our schools. We've implemented a new program called 911 Inform, which is an emergency notification system which notifies staff within our district, but we're also working in conjunction with the Hawthorne Police Department, as they will have access to that system as well, which will allow for quicker response time in an emergency. We've installed, as I mentioned, some interior doors to ensure proper functionality and locking capability. And we've continued our school security partnership with the borough and the Hawthorne Police Department. And as always, we appreciate our partnerships. And we have numerous partnerships, and I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. But we appreciate that continued partnership with the borough and the police department. Our district technology, we've incorporated iPads into our kindergarten screening, increased our number of Chromebooks for instruction in all of our schools. We've developed online registration for all grades, and increased our use of Google Apps for education for students and staff. We continue to upgrade our network, our internal network switches district-wide, and again, upgrade to our new Epson interactive projectors in all schools. So a lot of positive additions in the area of technology as well. As I said, those are some of our many accomplishments this past year, and we're proud to share them with members of our community. And as we move forward, we can now talk about the upcoming 2019-2020 school year. So our new 2019-2020 budget obviously supports all of our current instructional staff and programs, as well as all of our facilities, and the total enrollment of 2,437 students. It also supports a total budget of $44,686,431. In regard to our general tax levy, as you can see from the top line of this chart, our general tax levy increases at the statutory 2%. However, if you look directly below that, you'll see our debt service line, which is our payment from previous referendums. This number has decreased due to the payment schedule that was created when we refinanced our bonds back in 2016. And based on this decrease, the overall increase is 1.74%. What does that mean for the average homeowner in Hawthorne? It means a net increase of $85.68 on the average assessed home of $182,000, a little over $182,000, which equates to $7.14 per month. If we look at our revenues for this budget, the graph includes some of the sources of revenue for our district, and obviously, as you can see, the majority of our funding comes from the tax levy. However, we do get some additional funding from our state aid. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. Fund balance and miscellaneous revenue and special revenue. As always, the board and administration continue to try to find ways to generate revenue. It's an ongoing discussion that we have. And again, I mentioned previously that we've been fortunate this year to receive numerous donations. I mentioned one, I'll mention another shortly, and we also have a lot of private donors as well who support some of the initiatives in our district, and we appreciate everyone who supports our school district in that way. To delve further into our general fund revenues, you'll see that we received an additional $95,888 in state aid for the 1920 school year. You will also notice in the capital reserve line that we do not have any capital projects planned for the 2019-20 school year. That is a zero in the line of 2019-20. However, the previous year of 2018-19, you'll see that we spent $466,500, which was used for the replacement of the track at Hawthorne High School. If you take a look at our appropriations for the 2019-20 school year, this graph, as you can see, is divided into categories, and these categories mimic the categories that the state requires the school district to report as part of our district budget. You'll also see that just about half of our costs are associated with general and special education student and staff costs. The other category of note is our benefits category, which makes up about 19% of our costs. Taking a closer look at our appropriations, you'll see some increases and some decreases. I'm going to briefly touch on some of these. Starting right at the top of that chart, you'll see in terms of out-of-district tuition, there is an increase of $388,184, and that increase is based solely on our increased enrollment at PCTI. Also the other significant increases at the bottom of the chart, the other category, which includes things like therapies, software, professional development, curriculum writing, lease payments, contracted nurse services, etc. And this increase is based on a combination of these items that are categorized as other. However, you will also notice a decrease or reductions in the following areas. You'll notice a reduction in our health benefit line, where it says health and employee benefits. And that is due to the change in health benefit plans for our faculty and staff, which was part of our negotiations process, and due to the fact that the rates remained low and flat in some senses. So there was a decrease there. You'll also see a decrease in transportation, maintenance, custodial, capital projects, and security. There was a reduction there due to the fact that we don't have any capital projects planned for 1920. This does include, however, additional security costs and the purchase of a new bus, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes, at an estimated cost of $130,000. Moving on, we'll talk briefly here about some of our fiscal efficiencies in our budget. We are part of numerous consortiums which provide opportunities for better pricing. I'll go through some of these efficiencies, and starting with our insurance consortium for liability and workers' compensation insurance, a statewide consortium to purchase internet access, our bid consortiums for all of our instructional and office supplies, technology equipment, and special education transportation. We're part of an E-rate program for telecommunications, which is our telephone and internet communications. As I mentioned earlier, we are part of numerous shared services agreements with the borough, including garbage and recycling, school security, as I already mentioned, as well as some of our student programs at all of our schools. And finally, our partnership with community organizations to access all available grants and donations. And I mentioned the donation from the Atlantic Stewardship Bank. We were also fortunate this year to receive a significant grant of $20,000 from Columbia Bank, and that donation was earmarked for our culinary class and will be used toward the purchase of some new furniture for our culinary classroom, which will benefit our students at Hawthorne High School. Now let's get into some of the specifics about the 2019-20 budget and what the 2019-20 budget supports. Our 2019-20 budget supports our current instructional staffing in all schools, all of our current programs and services, except at Hawthorne High School, where we will have an increase in course offerings as part of our new Small Learning Communities initiative. It supports all of our current extracurricular activities, clubs, and athletic programs, our ongoing professional development at all levels, all of our curricular revisions in accordance with the New Jersey Student Learning Standards, and of course our transition program for our 18 to 21-year-old students. What's new for the 19-20 school year? In the area of staffing, we are happy to be adding a district-wide supervisor of STEM, or a supervisor of science, technology, engineering, and math. And that supervisor will oversee our STEM programs beginning in our elementary school with our research and exploration course, moving on to our middle school with our STEM class, and of course, our new STEM class at Hawthorne High School. The person will also work with some of our math teachers in the district and support them in terms of professional development and other areas. So we're excited about that new position. We're also adding additional special education teachers at Hawthorne High School and Lincoln Middle School, one teacher at each building, and some increased resource teachers at Washington and Roosevelt School, which equate to part-time or some increased time for some of our teachers at Washington and Roosevelt schools. In the area of technology, what's new for the new year is we have an ongoing initiative to replace some of our aging computers. We're excited to be transitioning to a new and more robust website with additional functionality. We're hoping to roll that out in late June, early July, but we're excited about the new website. Additional technology support to all of our schools, including our continued summer technology support, and our continued efforts to maintain our infrastructure and hardware, including updating our network switches. In the areas of buildings and grounds, we're excited to be creating a new STEM lab or STEM class at Hawthorne High School. We'll be replacing numerous lifts, handicapped lifts at Hawthorne High School, Lincoln Middle School, and Jefferson School. Adding some interior and exterior doors at the high school and the middle school. Updating the boys and girls locker rooms at Lincoln Middle School, which are in much need of updating. Purchase of a new 54-passenger bus to replace a retiring 50-year-old bus. Unfortunately, we're required, as the board is aware, we're required to retire buses as they reach 15 years of age, regardless of their condition. So we'll be retiring one of our 15-year-old buses and replacing that with a new 54-passenger, as I mentioned earlier. And our continued initiative of painting our classrooms, hallways, and stairwells in our schools. Finally, in the area of security, we'll be looking at some additional security cameras throughout the district, some interior door replacements in our cafeterias at the high school and Lincoln Middle School, and of course our continued efforts to evaluate our security measures and make improvements as necessary and appropriate throughout the district. In the area of curriculum instruction, at Hawthorne High School, this budget supports the implementation, and we're very excited about the implementation of our new Small Learning Communities, which includes 11 new courses at Hawthorne High School. We're going to be purchasing some new equipment and curricular items, Vernier Technology, Cody Rocky Robotics, and Project Lead the Way, which are all part of our new STEM Design and Process course, which we're excited about. We'll be developing new curriculum for the following courses, and these are the courses, as I mentioned earlier, the 11 new courses. These are those courses: the STEM Design and Process, our Computer Programming and Design, our Business Calculus and Statistics, our Descriptive Statistics, AP Human Geography, AP Computer Science Principles, Elements of Public Speaking and Debate, Introduction to E-Commerce, Fashion, Merchandising and Design, AP Psychology, and World Cultures. Again, very excited about the new additions to Hawthorne High School and these new Small Learning Communities. We'll be revising our curriculum in our ARCH classes, which stands for Academics, Real Life, Community, and Hands-On. And I listed some of these areas: English, History, Algebra, Geometry, and of course Drama and Study of Film. We'll have some revisions as well. We'll purchase some new textbooks in Biology and U.S. History. And we'll be offering a new AP Psychology course that will be offered through an online platform, which is called Apex Learning. Okay, at Lincoln Middle School, the 2019-20 budget supports new courses, including Adaptive Health, Math Lab, and English Lab, purchase of additional novels and mentor texts for our 7th graders in our language arts curriculum, the addition of the newly required financial literacy curriculum. That is a very, very new requirement. Matter of fact, we just received the broadcast today, I believe, recently. But that is something new that's required in grades 6, 7, and 8. We'll be incorporating that into current courses at Lincoln Middle School. So that'll be something we'll be working on to find ways to incorporate that into our current programs that are running at the middle school. And of course, we're always looking to expand and improve on our STEM program at Lincoln Middle School. Finally, at the elementary level, we'll be purchasing IXL, which is a personalized online learning platform for all of our K-5 students. The math, I should mention it's a personalized online math learning platform for all of our K-5 students. Purchasing Learning A to Z, which includes Reading A to Z, Raz Kids, and Head Sprout. And, Reading A to Z and Raz Kids kind of go hand in hand, and Reading A to Z also expands our classroom libraries, which we're excited about. And Head Sprout is the special education version of this Reading A to Z program in Raz Kids, which will benefit our students with special needs. We'll be revising curriculum in our K-5 math and our multiple disabilities curriculum for all subjects in grades 3, 4, and 5. And finally, to go along, as we talked about professional development numerous times, we're going to continue to provide training to our K-5 teachers. That's something that started this year and will continue into next year with Nancy Schultz, who runs a program called Conquer Math. And it's been very well received, and we're very excited about it. So, as I, get through, mention all the new initiatives and the new additions to our budget and our school district, we're excited about all the new things. The fact that we'll be adding staff, program services, and facility upgrades as part of this budget. However, we still need to do more. And in the coming months, we're going to be sharing information about an upcoming referendum. And for those who are watching tonight, I would just like to speak briefly about our upcoming referendum. And although we're not going to be sharing anything formal with you this evening, I would encourage all parents and community members to please visit our website. We've begun posting information there regarding our proposed referendum. And I ask you to take a look at the website, view the schedule of presentations. We have a schedule of presentations for the month of May. They are all set. Numerous presentations that you can attend. Feel free to attend any of them. We'll be adding information to the webpage in the coming weeks. And again, we hope that everyone will take a look at the information that is there and provided for you. We'll also be adding some meeting dates and locations for the months of June and into the summer. So again, please visit that website regularly, as we'll be updating it as we move forward. So we encourage everyone to take a look, and we hope to see you at one or numerous presentations that we'll be hosting, so we can share the need for this referendum in the coming months. All right, and with that said, I just would like to, one more time, take a moment. I want to thank Ms. Engel for her efforts in preparing this budget. Appreciate all of her hard work and her efforts to submit this budget in a timely manner and get it approved by our county. Also want to thank our administrative team for their assistance and leadership. Their continued support and vision for our school district is critical to the development of our short and long-term goals in the Hawthorne Public Schools. And as I say every year, there's always more to do, but we're extremely proud of all that we've accomplished over the past 5 years and look forward to another successful and productive year in the 2019-20 school year. Once again, please be reminded that the presentation will be available on our website first thing tomorrow morning, and within the next few days, the video will be available on our website as well. And on that note, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Doyle and our board members for any questions that they may have regarding the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Spirito. Excellent job as always. Before I turn things over to the rest of the board and ask if they have any questions or comments, our finance chairperson, Mrs. Tanya Sanford, could not be here this evening. She's actually attending a quite joyous occasion. Her daughter, who is actually a Hawthorne High School graduate, is being inducted into the National Society of Collegiate Scholars at her school. So it's a very momentous occasion. Obviously, I think she should be there, so she's enjoying that. But she did put together a couple of kind words that she wanted to express that I'm going to read on her behalf. Putting together a budget isn't an easy task in any case. Putting together a district-wide budget while keeping the needs of over 2,000 children, our many teachers, our 5 facilities, and all our taxpayers in mind is extremely difficult. Being able to accomplish this while adding staff, increasing resources, updating curriculum, and keeping below the 2% cap is incredible. There's always more work to be done, but with this dedicated and talented team, we will continue to do the very best we can for our district. And this is her words. "I would like to thank our administration, our business administrator, and our superintendent for all their hard work in creating this year's budget and tonight's presentation. I would also like to thank the Finance Committee and the entire board for their input, their expertise, and their support. Together, we will bring our schools and our children to the 21st century." And she thanks you for your time. I echo all of her sentiments as well. At this point, I'd like to ask the board if you have any questions or comments, or is there anything to add? Mr. Turco, start with you.
I'm good. Just like to thank the administration and the BA for their fine efforts in continuing to move our community and our children along. Thank you.
Yeah?
I agree. I can't really add much to that, so thank you all for your hard work.
Alex? Good? Bruce?
Same, thank you.
Mike?
Once again, great job. Thanks a lot.
Ed?
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right along. Public be heard. All right, seeing no one. Motion to close. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Gov?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Reicher?
Yes.
Ms. Sanford? Ms. Cascara?
Yes.
Mr. Taro?
Yes.
Mr. Turco?
Yes.
Mr. Fluvio?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes. All right, that's it. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.